Well, that was an interesting set of testimonies from maintenance employees of the Trimet Transportation District, and I was aware that the anti-union sentiment had pretty much. Let me turn this down. Pretty much had pervased the bus side. And I had always been convinced that there was intentional efforts made to get rid of everybody under the old contract, and I still believe that's true. I think that's the real intent. I was unaware until today that the anti-unionism sentiment has also carried over to the maintenance, and these people are also suffering under that emotional barrage of negativity, and of course it affects the work. And I was wondering why there's so many buses breaking down, and why things are such a mess out there. And I think that explains. I think it's partially explained by the testimonies. You have mechanics that are really unhappy, and the thing is that when you have people that are unhappy, they're not going to do a good job. And the problem is that public transportation agencies in the United States of America are all run by unelected technocracies. Neil McFarland, that board, everybody involved with Trimet was unelected. They were appointed. They were appointed by the governor of Oregon, and the governor of Oregon is not even in Portland, okay? They're in Salem. So, I mean, they intentionally set up Trimet and a lot of other public transportation districts to avoid any sort of accountability. And this is the result of this. And people that don't study this don't understand the disconnect between these technocracies and the people on the ground. And I'm not just talking about the employees. I'm talking about the riders, too. There's this huge disconnect between the people with the six-figure salaries going to meetings like that over there, the board meetings, and the actual people doing the work and riding the system. And that's why things are so bad. And they're bad everywhere. It's not just Trimet. I mean, Trimet's bad, but it's not awful bad. Awful bad would be D.C. Transit or Boston Transit. Even BART these days is just horrendous in terms of what goes on over there. Trimet's just mildly bad. The usual delays, constant delays, and all of that kind of stuff. But, I think that part of this problem is definitely institutional structure. And the other part of the problem is there's this intentional effort, not just at Trimet, but all around the country to destabilize the unions and get rid of the transit unions, and that's what's happening. I mean, I see this every place, not just Trimet. I see it everywhere. I see it in the MBTA. I saw it at BART. I'm not sure. I don't think anything's going on at Sound. Sound Transit seems to be pretty together, all things considered. Of course, they've got this huge tax increase on the line. One thing they don't need is any problems with their employees right now, because if they're able to get that $54 billion, it's party time for everybody involved with Sound Transit. And it looks pretty good for them that they're going to get it. And one of the reasons they're going to get it is because they've been able to manufacture these groups that are not complaining. I mean, the anti-Sound Transit is very small over there, and there's not much material against Sound Transit. Here in Portland, it's pretty big, and because they've been conducting this war against the union for 6 years now, or longer than that. I've been gone for 5 years, so it's more like 8 or 9 years that this war against the union has been going on. And as long as that keeps going, service is going to suffer. And as long as there's no accountability, the people have to keep suffering. And unfortunately for riders of public transportation in the United States, you got nowhere to go. There's no complaints. You have no accountability. You can't do anything about any of it. And that's the real problem.